Hi, it's Sandra here from Creative in Spain, and today I'm going to show you the equipment that I use to make the stamps and give you a few hints and tips. Now, I'm assuming that if you're interested in this, you've either got a stamp making kit or you want an alternative to your stamp making kit, or you run out of supplies for your stamp making kit and you want to know how to make it without using sachets. Okay, now you can buy liquid polymer. It's not particularly cheap, but it'll probably be cheaper for you than my first lot was, since I had to pay for courier to Spain. Oh dear, rather expensive. Once you have the liquid polymer, you'll find, if you look online, you'll find they sell it in containers of 1 kilo. And it's about so high, but it comes with a very wide top. It's about 2 inches wide, and it is absolutely horrendous for pouring. It really is bad. So what I did, and this was before I found another solution again, I got an old shampoo bottle and I put a washing up liquid top on it, and I keep this upside down in a jar so that all the liquid is down in the base ready for me to use. That makes dispensing the liquid much easier. Now, after I'd done that, I found in the cupboard that I had a plastic, what looked like some kind of cheapy ketchup dispenser. And I looked at the lid and I thought, ooh, that looks like it might be just about right. And it was. So I put that on my jug. And in fact, if I reach under the desk where I keep it, I can show you like so, okay, instead of the regular cap. And that will make pouring so much easier, so much cleaner. You will really thank me for that tip if you try it out. Okay, so what do you need other than that? You need a UV lamp. The easiest thing to do is to buy one designed for doing nails. And this one I purchased and it's got a 2-year warranty. Ignore the timer aspect on it because most people have got a phone with a timer. And to be honest, you need to be able to fine tune the timer. And if it goes up in, say, 30-second intervals, it's going to be useless. So don't worry about the timer on it. Now, when you're doing these things without a kit, you need a stack. And so what I have, I got my local glass shop to cut me a piece of glass. It is 14 centimetres square, in fact 2 pieces. It fits beautifully in there and it is 1/2 centimetre thick, and the gentleman even sanded the edges for me. He was so nice. So the other one is exactly the same, but I've put on some pink foam spacers on the corners. These are spacers and they are also to help support the other piece of glass. That's the base. What do you need other than that? Some glass cleaner, always a good idea, and I just use a makeup pad for that. Sticky tape's a good idea. A container with some cool water, and you need access to hot running water and some washing up liquid or other degreasant. Choice is yours. A 2-way pen is quite handy. A pin is handy for bursting any bubbles that you might get in your liquid. Now you can buy normal craft foam, which is what this is, and just put double-sided tape down it and then cut it into thin strips. That's what I do for making my dams. And I'm not being rude, you need to dam the liquid. Pieces of acetate. This is just normal stationery folder acetate stuff that they have little thumb holes on one side. Just 2 pieces of acetate, A4 size with a thumb hole. And I cut this up into pieces of various sizes to suit my requirements. What else? Phone for a timer. You notice that I've put my phone in a little baggie. This is a very good idea to protect your phone. You get sticky fingers using this, you don't want it all over your phone, believe me. It's terrible to try and remove. To make negatives, you can use overhead projector film, but you need to make sure that it is very, 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 very black. And I have a Canon Prixma, I think it is, MG3550, and I rang Canon because I couldn't find any settings for for overhead projector film. And they said, it doesn't do it. Great. So I'm glad I didn't buy any of that, especially. So what I have here is a vegetable paper, 2 pieces of vegetable paper. It's also called parchment paper, but over here it's called vegetable paper. It looks a bit like greaseproof, but it's not the same thing. And I have got 2 layers printed of exactly the same thing. And the best thing that you can do is to make sure you put a bounding box around your design, and then take it to a window with some sun going through it and line it up properly against a window. It's much easier. And this is where the pen comes in. Put a few dabs of glue on the one which is next to the window, and then you can move it together until it lines up properly. And it needs to line up as it should, perfectly, in order to work properly. When you are making your images, there's plenty of information on how to do that. But basically you need to have what you want to show up in white, and the rest of it has to be black. So it's a negative, okay? I use my Shortcuts a Lot software to make my designs, and that's really good because it's vector imaging. It's much better to use vector images unless you're purposely using photographs to make stamps, in which case you need a very high quality photograph and only black and white, and it needs to be well defined. Okay, so that's your job to do. Mine is just to show you how this works. So we have the base and we have our negative, and just take a piece of sticky tape. It's quite handy if you've got it in a dispenser in case you've got to do it one-handed at any time, and take that down. Then put a piece of acetate, and my particular pieces aren't quite big enough here, but you get the idea. You put your acetate on, make it a bit bigger than your design, and again stick it down. Now I'll pretend that my piece of acetate is big enough because I don't have to bother to cut another piece at the moment, but it is a little bit on the small side. Okay, so it's all nice and flat, and it certainly will be by the time it's got everything else on it. So the next thing is to make your dam, and that's easily done. You just unravel your tape, and you can actually do it in one piece. You don't have to cut individual little pieces. Put it over the dark part of the image, or at least make sure that no light is going to get through. Okay. Now obviously mine isn't long enough to do this. I should take it up to that corner there. You can leave a tiny little gap for excess liquid to come out if you so wish. So the next step is to put your liquid in, and literally what I do, I'm not going to put the liquid in now, and I would make sure that that was taped down flat, is literally go up and down in rows so that it meets and get as little air in it as possible. If you get any air bubbles, then use the pin to prick them. Fill it about 3/4 full. Don't fill it right to the edge because it will then go over. This stuff is very viscous, very gloopy, and it domes, so it will spread. So 3/4 of the way round that. So basically if you've covered most of the writing, you're okay. You then put another piece of film over the top, and you put your top on. And then you want to clip it together. Now some people use bulldog clips and things like that, but they take up space in the machine. So what I did was I purchased some 14mm plastic tubing. It's quite stiff, and I cut it into little chunks, and so you can use these. And they have the advantage that they don't scratch anything inside your UV lamp, but they will keep things in place and stop it coming apart. So you just do that. Now the liquid is UV sensitive, so you do have to keep the liquid in the dark. Excuse my phone going off. But it's not so sensitive that you have to actually pour it in the dark, so don't worry. That's not the issue, okay? I mean, I'm in sunny Spain and I can pour it in daylight. As long as I don't have the daylight directly coming onto the stuff I'm pouring, that's fine. Okay, there we go. So it's in. And then you put it inside your machine. You set your timer and off you go and you're doing your processing. I will give you more details in the blog about the actual timing and how to do it accurately. It goes in for a few seconds, you turn it over and it goes in for a longer period of time. When it's finished, you take it out, you take it apart, and you'll find that there's a nice neat little sandwich in here with your 2 pieces of acetate. It would be there if I had my sticky stuff in it. And you'll find, if you've got the timing right, that you can literally just peel it apart and you can vaguely see your design. You then take it to some hot soapy water and use a scrubbing brush and gently scrub away the excess liquid. Don't even think about trying to save the excess. It's not worth the aggravation. It's definitely not. Okay, that's how you do it. Now, it sounds very easy, and it is easy once you've got all the timings right. But I've probably used about half a kilo of my material just to work out the right timings. Okay. Regards the negatives, you may think that your negative is dark enough without doing anything else to it. If you just print off one. Now, I printed mine off on best quality and so on and so forth, and it looks black. It still is not dark enough. I tested it out, and if I only use one layer, I get a solid lump of plastic. I don't get any design in it, so yeah. Even with this, if I put it up to a window, I can actually still see shadows behind. If I was to hold this against something else, I probably couldn't. But if I was to look out the window at it, yes, I could. So make it easy on yourself. Just do the 2 layers and have done with it, because it's not worth wasting the material. Anything else? Glass cleaner to keep your glass nice and clean. But if you put the liquid in the bottle or dispense it, as I said, you should find it so much easier to dispense it. You won't make a mess of your plates. I do put protective things on my table simply so that if I do have an accident, I don't have to spend ages cleaning up. But basically, that is it. Okay, so I'll write a blog and give you some more details of timing and so on and so forth. And if you're really determined to give this a try, the best of luck. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.